All right. Hey everybody, sorry about that, a little bit late getting off the mark today. We had a bit of a glitch with Facebook. Must have been those 150 lightning strikes that hit Auckland this morning. Hey, thanks for joining us. This is the last Facebook Live of the year, Facebook Live number 10 for us, and I've really enjoyed it. We've built our audience up over the year, and it's been great connecting with you all. Same story, please feel free to ask questions live in stream today, and I'll answer them. If you're watching this after the fact, obviously we record it. It's up on our YouTube channel, shared in LinkedIn and Facebook. Post questions afterwards, get in contact with us. We're always happy to chat. So it's all there. And also we've just posted up a resource, helpful tips on cashing out of annual leave. That aligns to the last Facebook Live that I did. And it's just a little flowchart that shows you what to do and how you do this, or more importantly, not do this to stay on the right side of the law, which is probably quite important at this time of year as people start to feel a bit cash strapped. So that's cashing out of annual leave resource up on the MyHR website now under our resources section. So today's topic is about the Christmas parties, and it's that time of year, fairly and squarely, can't believe it, but yes it is. And this is the time of year that the HR people in any organisation kind of get accused of being the fun police, right? We're the ones that try and put the dampener on the Christmas party and bring it down and all of that kind of stuff. And it's a little bit unfair on behalf of my colleagues. Our issue is we're the ones that always deal with the aftermath of things going wrong. So what I want to do today is point out a few things, give you some tips on how to make sure you make the most of Christmas and Christmas parties, that you have a blast. I'm not a Grinch, and I don't recommend that organisations or companies behave in a Grinch-like way either. This is a wicked time of year, great opportunity to connect with your staff. Christmas parties are great fun. You can do some really cool things, really nice way to round out what's probably been a frantic time for everybody. Let your hair down, meet partners if you bring them to the parties, meet family, whatever it is that you do, get in and have some cool stuff. Just be aware of some of the pitfalls of Christmas parties. And fundamentally, let's be really honest about this, Christmas parties are not really the issue. It's the way humans behave when they drink too much alcohol. As an HR practitioner, I don't think in 18 odd years of doing this, I have ever dealt with a Christmas party issue that didn't involve too much drink. You know, that's the key to the problems that we often deal with. So there's some basic tips. Idea one, which might sound crazy to you, and that is, why not do something without alcohol? Have a party that involves some cool, fun activities. Go-kart racing, mini golf, clay pigeon shooting. We did that one year, and it was pretty awesome actually, with double barrel shotguns. Whitewater rafting, you know, there's heaps of cool things you could do. You could redirect the booze budget to buying presents for your people and have a morning tea the day before you knock off, and buy everyone something little instead of getting everybody drunk. Have a family-friendly barbecue. Go to a beach somewhere or a park somewhere on an afternoon, lunchtime, and kids and everybody's welcome. And all that money you might have spent on liquor can go to bouncy castles or face painting for the kids, and get everyone involved, make it a real sort of family event. So that's some of the kind of stuff we've seen used to really great effect as an alcohol-free Christmas party. But look, if no alcohol just offends your whole sense of Christmas and you feel like you have to have alcohol at your party no matter what, here are a few things to think about when you run your party at the restaurant, the function centre, wherever it is that you're going to do this thing. Try and keep a few people sober. You've probably got some people in your team who don't drink, surprisingly, not everybody does. There are plenty of people out there who don't like to drink a lot of liquor, so keep a few people sober. That can help just balance things a little bit. Stage an intervention if you see someone having a bit too much. Just subtly, quietly go over and maybe suggest they have a few glasses of water and perhaps slow down. Make sure you have heaps of food. Just don't scrimp on the food budget, really, it's not worth it. And structure the event so that the food gets eaten, right? So often not often, but I have seen where there's like a couple of ham rolls in the corner on a table next to the water, and they just don't get eaten, and everybody drinks, and then within 2 hours the place is a bit of a mess. So lots of food, and structure it so that stuff gets eaten. Make sure there's plenty of non-alcoholic options, juices, that kind of stuff, but also mocktails. You know, make it fun. The virgin mojito is a really yummy drink. no rum. Rum, is that one in a mojito? I think so. But heaps of cool stuff like that. Direct people to have stuff other than alcohol. Balance the night out. And don't go overboard with the quantities. It is against the law to feed liquor to people who are already heavily intoxicated. So just manage your quantities a little bit. And knock it on the head reasonably early. Not much good happens after midnight once people have been drinking for a few hours. So kind of have an end where you're at and make sure you get your people home. And be really clear about this. If you are putting on an event where you are supplying alcohol to your people, as an employer, it is your responsibility to make sure they get home safely. So whether you're paying for taxis, Ubers, putting on buses, you've got to do something. You cannot just send them out onto the street to find their own way home in a potentially intoxicated state. So there you go, HR sort of fun police tips, but in and amongst all of that, you can still have an awesome time at Christmas, and I highly sort of recommend you do. Trust that the vast majority of people are just there to have a good time. And if there are a couple of idiots that are going to muck it up, that you have some systems in place to catch that and not ruin it for people. And there are people, don't forget, who have had pretty average experiences at Christmas parties in the past, who have maybe been on the end of something pretty nasty. I've had experience of assaults and those sorts of things. And for them, Christmas parties are just not fun. They just bring up a whole bunch of bad memories. So it does happen. Be aware of that. Before you kick into it, address the Christmas party. You don't have to go as formal as a written policy. If you want to, you can, but it's certainly not a requirement. But just a general chat with the team around expectations, and have a bit of fun with it. You don't have to speak in legal language. Speak in language that people understand. Just remind them of what you expect. Balance the amount of alcohol you take. Hey, look, that good-looking person in marketing isn't really interested in a kiss from a sweaty 45-year-old or something like that. Give some examples of the kind of stuff you don't really want to see. And people connect with it in a better way. And if you do that, expectations are clear, the event's well structured, ultimately people are going to have a blast. And hopefully, like me, you will remember the wicked Christmas parties you've been to and the good fun times that you've had at Christmas parties, and that opportunity to connect with your colleagues and workmates in a way that is less formal, where you can kind of let your hair down when the bosses and everyone else is all sort of on the same level, just having a blast. So they're a good thing, but hopefully those tips there around survival will help you get through it without me sounding too much like the fun police. And that is it. The fastest Facebook Live I think we've ever done. But I wanted to get that to you before Christmas and acknowledge that it's a flat out busy time of year. So thank you if you are watching. I'm sure you need to now get out there and finish whatever you're doing before the year wraps, and then go buy all those Christmas presents. So thanks again for tuning in. Thank you for being with us throughout the year. We will kick this off again in the new year because it has been so popular. Probably February time, I expect. And we're looking next year to have some guests and people like that along, just sort of vary them up a little bit. So please get in touch if there are topics you want to talk about. There's a lot happening next year. We've got a whole new raft of laws coming through under the Employment Relations Amendment Bill. The Holidays Act Working Group, I'm hoping we might hear something from them. There's payday filing for PAYE that kicks off on the 1st of April. So a big year for employment law and employment law change. And so I suspect we're going to have heaps of questions. So get in touch, tell us what you want to hear about, and happy to do it. So hey, Merry Christmas, have a great year. Cheers.